right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Policy and Projects Committee of the Athens in Motion Commission. Let the good times roll. What if that was our theme song?
Do I hear motion?
Yeah, let the good times roll.
I saw the Cars live once, I'll have you know.
Oh,
Back in the day at an outdoor music festival in Michigan.
nice. I remember outdoor music festivals. Those were a thing once upon a time.
Rest in peace, Rick Ocasek.
Say that again.
I said, rest in peace, Rick Ocasek.
Yeah, no kidding. Before his time, for sure.
All right, so here's our agenda for today. We are meeting until 5:45. I have the minutes from January. So we'll be looking at a complete streets policy presentation draft. We'll come back to reviewing bike ordinances around the country. Again, that list that Cole had assembled for us. And in our next meeting, will probably be determined, but that's a full AIMC meeting. Any tweaks to the agenda? Right. Let's go ahead and look at our minutes. Where did they go?
Lauren, there's one really quick change to go in.
Okay.
Third paragraph, first sentence, it's not the Athens in Motion Commission, it's Athens Mayor and Commission.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, okay. Hold on. There we go. No. All right, there it is. Yes, you're so helpful. Thank you. All right, so I had to pull it back up. Let's try this again. No, that's not it. Ah. Okay, baby. All right, I'm just going to pull this up from here. I don't know why I can't. Okay, no, that was right. That was right. Right? Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm not looking at the right set of minutes here.
Do you have it?
I'll find it eventually.
So you said the third paragraph?
Ignore that for the moment because I don't think I was looking at the correct one.
All right. No problem. No problem.
What's the date? What's the date?
The 21st of January.
It doesn't have a year on it. Okay, yeah, this is it. Good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Kitty, I love you, but come on. So any additions or corrections to these lovely minutes? If there are none, I will make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Taylor, for those minutes. The next item on the agenda is to assign someone else to take the minutes for this meeting. And my cat volunteers, except he doesn't know how to write. Aaron, did you say you're going to take the minutes?
He's in his car. I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I was like,
negative.
I was
I am
impressed.
I think he was voting for your cat.
Okay. Yeah, don't write and drive. It's hard enough to have a meeting and
Yeah.
driving.
No.
I can try and do it if
I can do it. If
y'all want to do it. If y'all want to let me do it, I don't care. Anybody else want to do it? That's wonderful, but I'm happy to do it if no one else does.
Teresa, we'll take you up on that this time. You make it
Let me go get some paper.
okay. All right. My cat says he will learn to write between now and the next policy committee meeting. Aaron, you look cool in your shades. You look like you're driving to California. Can we go?
Oh, I wish. I'm out near Washington, Georgia, so it couldn't be less exciting.
I'll pretend you're in California.
Washington, Georgia is beautiful.
You know it is.
Not-
All right, so
Now
we've
when you
got
have to drive through it every week.
All right, so hang on a second.
sure. Well,
Get myself organized to okay. So
no problem. Chris.
okay, so the minutes we had a Lauren moved, Teresa seconded. Okay, so and how many of us are there? How many voting members of us are there? Would someone fill me in on that?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Daniel, do you get a vote in this? Don't you?
Nope.
You don't? Okay, so we have 7.
Okay. 7 in favor, 0. Okay, that's awesome. And what time did we start this meeting?
4:32.
Thank you very much. Just playing a little catch up here.
Yes. Sorry, I guess that's the first thing that we should do. Oh man, this procedural stuff, it takes a lot of time, but I don't feel bad about it because I know that the same is true for the big meetings of the mayor and commission, that they deal with this kind of stuff as well. Maybe not exactly like this about their minute takers, but all right. Teresa, is it okay for us to go to the next item?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. So very excited to take a look at our draft presentation created by Aaron for Complete Streets. We had developed a Complete Streets policy, a new one, and we need to get in on a work session with the mayor and commission. And Aaron had wanted to take a look at this today before this meeting, but I got caught up in work stuff and had an appointment. But I'm really excited to look at it now. And I know that I think Randy had sent a comment.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. I wanted to have more done. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, no, this is great. And we can go through it. Okay, let's see. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much what we're doing. Like maybe we want to make the text bigger. But I liked your approach from the outset of one slide per section, because we do have a lot of sections. And I see
Hey,
that we have
Lauren?
Laura who's joining us. Daniel, do you want to welcome Laura?
Yeah, Laura, you hopped on just in time. We were just getting started with the complete streets review of the presentation. Do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, okay. Now she's here. Hey, Laura. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce you, and well, give you a chance to introduce yourself. I don't want to mess up job titles or anything, so
or last names.
yes.
All good. Hey, everybody. I am Laura Bracey. I'm with the American Heart Association, and we are just huge advocates for complete streets policies. And I was excited that I connected with Daniel and just wanted to let him know that, you know, we've been working on these, and just because of the impact that they have on heart health and obesity and connecting people to transit to healthy food options. I mean, there's so many things that Complete Streets do for overall health. So thank you for allowing me to join.
And thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming, Laura. All right, I'll pull the screen back up. And yeah, Randy had a comment about Complete Streets, about updating this line, which we could do. And of course, the Complete Street framework shifts the status quo of street design from being car-centric to being designed for all users. Yes. Benefits. Yeah, so committee, what would y'all like to do? Do you want to take a look at this slide by slide? We have about 20 minutes to do that, or do you have did anyone else get a chance to look at it and just have general comments?
I looked through it. I thought it looked really good.
Mhm.
I think, a couple of cosmetic things like making the fonts a little bigger, like you said, and maybe adding some graphical elements just for visual interest. But, the content looked really solid.
Do we need to wordsmith it at all, or are we not really concerned about that because, it's going to be one of those presentations and hopefully nobody will be just reading word for word.
Well,
I think
go
to
ahead.
wordsmith this would take too long of the meeting, I think. Maybe it's
Yeah, in this meeting.
offline,
Yes.
but
Yeah, and also, I mean, we spent a lot of time wordsmithing the Complete Streets policy, and I think that this pulls from it, right? This should.
just to point out, there was one query in there. I think it was defining vulnerable population. Yeah, it's on this slide. I just wanted to make sure Aaron didn't miss that or leave it in. It looked like it was meant to be a query.
Correct. Yeah, I wasn't sure if wanted to list all the vulnerable populations or just wanted to speak that, when the presentation is done. So yes.
What do y'all think?
I think it's fine just to say vulnerable populations and then during the presentation, such as, give a couple of examples. I don't know. You need a laundry list.
Okay.
That's just an opinion,
I also had a question about, I think it's one of the slides later ones, is it jurisdiction? Where I just wasn't sure if we really needed to go over that for the sake of time, because we know, at least for our purposes, while nationwide, it's, this is going to be pertaining to Athens. So I was a little confused a little unsure about that.
Yeah. Maybe, let me think. I'm trying to remember I haven't looked at the section in a while. But private roads are not part of our jurisdiction, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. Didn't know if we needed to devote a whole slide to it or just quickly cover that. I figured, is this a 10-minute presentation?
something like that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to cover.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments by the committee?
Question,
Marco.
who's going to give the presentation?
Say that again?
Who will give the presentation?
I imagine it's probably the chair of the Athens in Motion Commission.
I wonder who that is.
I don't know. I think that they went to California. Yeah, no, it's fine. I actually enjoyed this kind of stuff.
You're good at it.
Thanks, Teresa.
Just saying. Yeah, I will not be. Is it Tuesday? Is it a Tuesday for? When would this be?
Probably, I think we would be looking at an April work session at the earliest. I don't know if we could fit in March. Daniel, what do you think?
I can take this to Well, now that we've got pretty much the presentation put together, I can take this to Stephen and see when we could get on the agenda.
Okay.
Do we already have I get, that's a question for me. I was going to ask if we already have an agenda item for this, but probably not.
Mhm.
I was going to say I'd like to be a part of it, but I'm not in Athens most of the week. At least usually Tuesday night through Tuesday and Wednesday night, and not around, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm just putting some notes
Is
directly on.
this something that we would present or that staff would present? Because I know on the Prince Avenue Corridor Committee, we were told it was staff would be doing the presentation of the result of our work.
So I think you guys would be presenting this one because I could be there as support. We definitely want to have, staff on hand to show that we support this since it's for the department. But
Okay.
since it is something that you guys put together and did versus, that's more of a SPLOS project and
Right.
um,
I just want to make sure we were doing the right procedure.
yeah, I'll double check that with Stephen, but pretty sure it's from you guys with our support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm putting in our next steps. And I don't mind going through and evening out the text size and stuff if y'all are okay with that, and it can definitely help there. Mark, you had mentioned some visuals. Do you have anything in mind?
No, you act as if I'm creative.
Well, I was just wondering, because I want to hear that. I can.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, for example, on the benefits side, you could have a photo of, some of the sidewalk cafe and a path or, something that shows how that could encourage businesses or help businesses. I don't know. I expect
something
other
that-
people to be creative, not
Yeah,
me.
something that shows how vibrant a street can be when you add some foot and bike traffic to it. There's
Mhm.
got to be something out there we can just pull off the internet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Laura, you had mentioned that y'all have some information about some of the benefits, like in different presentations, like health benefits for complete streets. Is there information that, or like a presentation, some slides or something that you might be able to help out with, or maybe even visuals?
Yes, I was going to mention, Lauren, I've got a couple of presentations from colleagues across the country that have lots of great visuals that I can share.
Great.
I'll look through. I'm giving a series of lectures as part of my class on built infrastructure later this semester, so I'll look through some of those lectures as well.
Hey, Joe, my forte isn't in visual design either. So I appreciate the help.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. Okay, and Scott, I'm going to put this link here. Okay, so once Daniel talks to Stephen, we'll have a better idea of when we're actually presenting. But it seems like we'll have time to have one more policy meeting before that, so we have time to get some visuals together and get the final version. Are y'all fine with that sort of timeline? Okay, great.
Yes.
Perfect. Aaron, thanks so much for getting this on some slides. It's quite a policy. It's quite
Yeah.
heavy. So
Yeah, we definitely supersized it from the original too, but in a good way because we added a lot more about equity and more specificity that is needed.
Indeed, indeed.
Does Athens in Motion need to vote and approve this, or is it fine the way it is?
I don't think a motion's needed. I think just this is more of kind of a work session for that presentation.
To
But
be
speaking
presented
of,
to Athens in Motion.
on the commission as a whole,
Yeah.
what do you think, Lauren?
I think let's run by what we have to the entire commission. Give them a heads up that we are presenting. I mean, they've viewed the policy and have we've all approved the
we approved the
complete
policy.
streets policy.
Yeah.
So we'll, give them an update and give them a place where they can look at the whole commission can look at the presentation, and make sure they have access to it.
Do we
I
want
think
to
that's good.
invite comments or modifications, or is it purely for information?
I would say you could open it up for comments or ideas if you wanted to.
As we have plenty of time before the mayor and commission.
Yeah. So, and I did reach out to Stephen. So first step would be to get on the work session calendar, and then Julia can help us with the agenda, and then with the work session, you would be presenting it with support from staff. So he confirmed that. I can also get more information on how to get on the work session schedule. But I believe I think I have this mapped out somewhere where like a month or two in advance the process starts. So let me see if I can find it.
Okay. And I'll make a note here, like let's share progress of presentation with all of AIMC at February meeting. Invite comments. Great. All right, so thank y'all. We're off to a good start. Again, major thanks to you, Aaron. It's just wonderful. I love it when other folks do presentations and I get to come in and just do things like text sizing and stuff. So it's great.
Yeah. So Lauren, you've got the presentation now. You'll finish up the details and.
Yes, I will I will take it from here with support from the rest of the committee as far as visuals go. If anyone has them, I'll be happy to add them in.
Just making sure we're sending stuff to the right spot.
Yes.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, y'all ready to go back to our bike ordinances, our review of bike ordinances? Right, all right.
I think we left off on row 21. So we would be picking back up at established bike lanes, row 22.
Thank you. I'm pulling it up and I will share my screen in just a moment. Yes. Exactly right, Taylor. Okay, for anyone who wasn't here before or is following along at home or watching this in the future, we have been looking at bike ordinances, and these were compiled by Cole Scott, who is with us today, who spent a lot of time looking at college towns and seeing like what ordinances are out there. So we have a list of them here, and there's great links to the municipal codes of these cities. So we're looking to find ordinances that we want to consider for adoption here in Athens-Clarke County. Probably the most, maybe the best example of that is something to do with parking in bike lanes, because right now anyone can park in a bike lane. So things like that. And we had gone through half of them. There's about 40. We are at row 22. We had gone through and ranked them in terms of priority, like 5 being a big priority. We wanted to pursue it. We have comments over here. 1 being heck no. So
Where's the link to that screen that you're showing us?
it's I left it in the agenda, so it should be there, but I'm happy to paste it in the chat.
Priorities ranking, is that what it's called?
Yes, ma'am.
Mine looked different.
Look at, if you go to sheet 2 called ranking, that workbook has 2 sheets.
Yes. I'm sorry about that.
Sheet 2, where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, ranking, right. Gotcha. Okay. Right.
Yep. So we have
I'm
sheet
with
1, then
programming.
ranking. I can move this to the front. There we go.
All right, so we're down at number 22.
Yep.
All right. So this spreadsheet, is this something that you all worked on or just went over?
So what we did last time is, back in December, Cole gave us a presentation.
Right.
Yeah, Cole, I know that I just kind of loosely summarized it, but can you review what you did? Would you mind sharing that with Teresa and the committee?
Yeah, I think I missed that last meeting.
Yeah, so what I did was I went is I found like comparable college towns in just like different cities. Some in Georgia, some like around the southeast, and then like Eugene is like the prime example of like the best bike community. So I went through all their ordinances and I searched bicycle. So just basically anything, any ordinance that has bicycle in it, I put down here and then compiled to like compare like what laws we have, what laws does like Gainesville or Eugene, Oregon have, so we can improve our own ordinances to match theirs.
Very nicely done. Sorry, I missed that meeting. Sounds like a good one.
Yeah, Teresa, that's not your fault. That was the one where it was early in the month and it just kind of snuck up on me. So we had rescheduled it, and
Family was still
unfortunately,
in town, so I was like, doing that damn.
yeah. So sorry about that. Yeah, this is really a great resource because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's already a lot of great stuff out there, and we can pick and choose what we want to use and adopt from there. So I really value this list that you've come up with, Cole. So we're at line 22, established bike lanes, and some initial comments like, isn't this already in? This isn't really an ordinance. Does enforcement come with establishment? Y'all want to talk about this a bit more? Daniel, you said, heck no. I don't remember what I said. I guess I was neutral.
So yeah, I'm trying to, what's some context for that ordinance? Oh, that's gonna be, yeah.
I think it's basically just like a definition of like, this is what a bicycle lane is.
And that's already like outlined in Georgia laws. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think that's why I just had it as 1, because it was just don't really need to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Cole, can you remind me how we get into LexisNexis?
You Google it
I can drop
separately.
them.
Say that again.
You Google it separately, and then so what is it called? Georgia laws or something. He's gonna drop the link in the
Cool.
Basically, once you go there, then
It's like GCOA is like the Georgia Code annotated, Georgia Official Code annotated.
Just put the link in the chat. I think if you click on it, then it should work.
okay, yeah. So once you click that link, then after you click the links that are available in the spreadsheet, it'll work.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Just wanted to make sure I had it together before I share my screen again. All right. So yeah, so there was the Georgia law. So what do we think?
If it's covered under Georgia law, I don't know that.
So I had a quick question here. The Georgia law sort of doesn't mention bike lanes specifically. A person who obstructs without authority of law purposefully recklessly obstructs any highway, street, sidewalk, or public passage in such a way to make it impassable without unreasonable inconvenience, blah, 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 guilty of a misdemeanor. It doesn't mention actually bike lane. It's just a public passage.
So is this specifically talking about blocking bike lanes?
That's yeah, 161143 is the number of the code.
Okay. So that one I'm already working on. I just we're gonna put in we have it kind of drafted up with the attorney's office, and I just need to get an agenda item put together, and that will specifically say you cannot park or block bike lanes. So
Are we still talking about established bike lanes?
I think they're from the same section, what you were saying, Scott? Is that right?
So I've got a definition of bike lanes, but I don't have a code associated with it in my pocket guide here.
Okay.
That's annoying.
Lauren, can you click on that ordinance again? So, go back up to the top. The department should be guided by a sign. This is like specific to the Georgia Scenic Trail System. So
What about bikeways down at G?
yeah, so all of this though is under, these are examples of like what we could do if we, I guess the greater question maybe is, do we have an ordinance that specifically calls out the Athens in Motion plan and the implementation of that plan? Maybe that's the bigger question, because this is all within Georgia Recreation. So, I mean, it might be worthwhile to just explore what there is from the Parks Department, like what their guiding ordinance is. I believe it would be the Greenway Commission or the Greenway Trails, but now we have Firefly, and there's also the future Athens line. Like, there's a lot of multi-use trail development, but I'm pretty sure all of our ordinances specifically call out Greenway. So maybe there's some work we need to do with Park Department or Leisure Services.
Mhm.
And then at that same time, I would explore, maybe this is the next question. So, do we already have, are we, yeah, sorry, I won't move on.
Do we already have?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So that bike mobility program, can you click on the next one?
Mhm.
ACC ordinance. Yeah, so this is I think where we need to maybe do some revisions. Not revising the Greenway Commission ordinance, but just that see. See, they just have the ex officio members in there. This is all. So I'm wondering if we have one of these for Athens in Motion, right? Like, do we have an ordinance? Because if we don't, then I think that is a great. We definitely need to do that.
So we would call that, do we need an ordinance to legitimize the Athens in motion? Is that what we would say?
I would say it helps legitimize it. I mean, I know, I'm sure there's somewhere that mentions it. I mean, when they accepted, because the other thing is our Athens in Motion plan was accepted by the mayor and commission, right? It wasn't
Mhm.
approved,
Right, it wasn't
Um,
adopted, it was accepted,
right?
whatever
So
the difference is.
The Greenway Network Plan, is it adopted?
yes.
So it's not merely accepted.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah. So that's something I want to explore. Why is that? What's the differences there? And is it because there needs to be more legitimacy um, for the Athens in Motion, like an actual ordinance? So that'll be a whole discussion.
Yeah, I mean, can we just put an item on the mayor and commission agenda to have them consider adopting the Athens in Motion plan? Or you think it has to come with like an update or something?
Yeah, I think this next round, this update, we want that to happen. And so we just need to do a little bit of legwork to figure out what's needed for that and um, what, and then I think we need to do some more research digging into the ordinances to see where Athens in Motion falls in our local stuff.
Okay. All right. Aim for adoption and with not merely accept.
Also, just as a note, we get on the list for work session by talking with Cynthia in the manager's office. So I will reach out. I'll try to get that set up for you guys.
Okay, you know what? I think that we talked about that previously, and I was supposed to reach out to her, so I'm sorry.
okay.
I dropped the ball on
No,
that.
you're good. You know, it'd just be helpful to know, and I think once we know which one we can get on, then we'll figure out the cycle. So
Right.
I'm imagining like a March, April, or maybe even April, May, like depending on how far out they're booking things.
Okay, yeah. All right, we have a lot more of these to go through. So increase in bicycle traffic considered beneficial, and some ordinances we have there are our own. Savannah has one, Chapel Hill, Gainesville, Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Eugene, Oregon. So what we have in our own municipal code is this. Here we go. Increases in pedestrian, sorry, try to make that bigger. Increases in pedestrian, bicycle, and mass transit are considered beneficial, regardless of capacity of facilities. Feel good about that?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good.
Well, I think that I was talking to Mr. Sizemore about this, and this is only in the special uses category. Do you have anything to add on to that?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Is this the one that we were talking about? I thought that was the planning of bike routes. We had talked about, so some of those other ones specifically have a section in the plan development section of the ordinance, so PD. And ours is within the special uses, yeah, like he was mentioning. So if you let's see, so under zoning, scroll up. Yeah, so 914 plan development. I think this one, I noticed that some of those other ones actually have this topic called out in the plan development section, and we don't really mention bikes in that. It isn't, I mean, we've been working with them to do that, as far as I'm aware, but it just might help to have a little more grit. And I think this would be a conversation, this whole section, anything related to zoning, I would say we should set up a meeting, one of our next policy meetings with the planning department, someone from the planning department, maybe two representatives to come and talk with us about opportunities for inserting more language about bikes and infrastructure. So in the same way that I think we should also have a meeting to talk with Parks Department about some of their stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are 15 results for Greenway in our ordinances. And when I search Athens in motion, there's 0.
Huh.
So it might be under something else, but
Well, it's still pretty new. And I mean, Greenway has been around for decades now because that's how long it takes to work with certain partners to get permission to build Greenway. All right, on to the next item. Mandatory parking for bikes. Okay, so overall we're about 3.7. So kind of a high priority, but not the highest. I agree with John Devine about lack of covered and convenient parking is an issue. I feel like in some cases it would be so easy to just put parking under some sort of shelter, but it's not. Yes, and issues with locking. And Aaron, you talk about being like allowing it non-designated parking.
Right, that's an issue in some places. Like, I can't believe the decks don't allow the UGA decks to allow you to park your bike. It's ridiculous. I know it's at ACC, so it's a different issue.
I did not
Not
realize.
ACC. Can you park your bike anywhere you want?
That would be such an easy win for them to just take 2 parking spots in the deck and turn them into bike parking. God.
I got to monetize it, Mark.
I like my university less every day.
Okay, let's see what we have right now.
For the parking deck, is that auxiliary services?
Just parking services, I believe, which is, I don't know how else it's in with auxiliary.
Okay. I wonder,
I guess
I can't remember
Mike and
like position title. He in auxiliary services or parking services? I know he used to be in parking services on the website.
Wait,
Blaine Van Note.
well, parking is under auxiliary.
Okay, that's yeah. He might be a good I received a call from someone in the marketing department of auxiliary services recently. They're getting a grant for bike pedestrian safety.
I got that same phone call today.
Oh, there we go. All right. Uh, perfect. Well, yeah, so they are working on some bike and pedestrian safety stuff, and if we get Blaine looped in with some of that, I think this specific grant is for education, so it might be
I think they're
worthwhile.
looking to get money to revitalize the Watch for Dogs campaign.
Okay.
Trying to do public awareness, social media, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I just wonder if there's some opportunities to get parking services on board to make some better bike parking,
Is
especially
parking
in some of the.
services with the university?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. And
Okay, so opportunities to get UGA parking services on board, and it seems like there is there's stuff covered in our municipal code. Do we want to consider adding like sanctioning non standard structure bike parking? Because that seems like it's something that's missing, like Aaron's idea.
sorry, it's really small. Let me look. Can you highlight the section where you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so where this
I
might
guess
become an issue is like accessibility and potential
yeah.
blocking.
Yeah, I would say that would be my concern is like it can't block ADA access. So so if you look at like the downtown sidewalks, I was just walking on Clayton yesterday doing a site visit on their work there, and I did mention to Diana that I'm interested to see the number of bike racks in the whole plan, and then I could bring that to you guys to see if you feel like it's enough, or can we start adding in more? And these would probably be aftermarket install, so after the whole project is complete, unless they can work it into their budget. I don't want to impact I don't want to do too many change orders, but
If we're
I did
talking
want to
about the
run it
same
by.
thing, I don't think there's very many in the plan to be installed.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of one of my concerns with that. I I don't know if it's too far along, but I wanted to run it by y'all to get an official statement.
I was under the impression that there was like a public art piece that was going to involve like a long pipe that was going through
Yeah.
the whole project that would kind of become benches and bike racks and that sort of thing. And it seems like a lot of that could be utilized, even if it's not designed to be a bike rack, to secure bike too, depending on how it shakes out.
Yeah, and I think the artist said that some of the decorative elements can be used for bike racks. So, um,
I wonder if there's a way to sanction bike parking, but also keeping accessibility in mind, because sometimes I find that bike racks, they are kind of far away. They're not under good lighting at night. And, I rode the same bike for 10 years and it took me 9 or 10 months to get a new bike because of the bike shortage. And I really don't want my bike stolen because that's my transportation.
right.
And I also,
No, yeah.
go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't want to be forced to always use the bike rack, especially if they fill up, and then they start, anyway, seizing bikes that are outlawed and only racks and that kind of thing too, which is pretty common, at least with bike racks being full.
As I definitely want to see more bike parking too, but I definitely understand that it could become a problem if you like say, hey, you can lock your bike to anything. But I'm also wondering, like, is this a real problem? Because I do lock my bike to parking meters and just railways and stuff. Like, I try to get out of the way as I can. Like, has anybody ever experienced something where like they attached their bike to something and the cops gave them a ticket or cut it off or did something like that?
Someone left me a nasty note. They were really mad at
That's just
me.
as bad.
In our experience, it's the business owner who has control over what goes on with that bike rack. So if they don't like the way that you parked or something, they would be the ones doing something about it. They're allowed to cut your lock if they want.
So maybe let's say we should explore some bike parking ordinances just generally, meaning a breakout meeting where we talk about a lot of these points and come up with, what can we mandate from a development standpoint, which sections can have, should have mandated parking. For instance, if there's a multi-use development, like I think we could start trying to implement not only bike parking, but I mean bike storage rooms. Like that's all within like LEED um, accreditation, like LEED certificates require that kind of stuff. So the whole point of LEED is to
Anna, do you
try
have
to
one of
bring
these?
standards further along. I can't see.
It's
What
the
does it say?
Darrow Pocket Guide to Bike Parking. There's some interesting diagrams in here of requirements of space that they want to see, but it's not like in order to put in a bike rack, you have to do this to make it legal. It's just like these are like best practices.
Right. Who puts that out?
Darrow. I don't know what the situation with Darrow is these days. I don't know that they're still in Chattanooga. Our contact is Micah. I'm not sure if he still works there, but I have a ton of
Okay.
these.
How do you spell
Um,
Darrow?
I'll grab one.
DERO.
DERO. And what does that stand for?
That's just the name of the company that builds bike parking. And so they put out this guide.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll grab one from you tomorrow.
And this talking about bike parking reminds me that I want to get Patrina Huff on the line if see if she would like to join this committee. She had submitted a project for bike parking at CCSD schools, which the mayor and commission, worried that might be setting a precedent for ACC to come in and do school stuff and didn't really want to take that on. But her heart was in the right place, trying to facilitate biking. Because if there's bike parking, then people might actually take their bikes there. So I'm going to reach out to her and see if she would like to join our committee sometime. And I say that here so that way I don't forget and someone holds me accountable.
I'm writing it down.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, on to the next one. All right. We have, well, I thought we had this. Must
What are-
install grates
What are
in
grades?
in bike lanes to accommodate cycles.
So what this one is talking about is specifically talking about the direction. So grates perpendicular.
What does a grate do?
So stormwater grates, stormwater drains, you cannot install. So
Right, you
the,
don't want
the
to
opening
have it
is
so
the
your
width of
wheel
a
gets stuck
bicycle.
in the grate. Okay, so it
Yeah.
has to be perpendicular.
So it
Okay.
has to be perpendicular to reduce. So see if you see the one just to the left of your mouse, yeah. Like if it were a wider length, then but even that right there, if your wheel hits it, it's going to be a bit jarring and it could cause a crash.
Mhm.
Isn't a bigger issue with them being recessed like so many places in town?
Baxter.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, that's something I noted too when we do some repaving sometimes. If we don't get it right at the same level, then it's kind of it drops way down. But give me a location of what you're talking about with the recessed grates.
On Baxter Street, especially, they are severely recessed. You have to go into the main lane to avoid them. Some places.
Sometimes there's some striping in front of them to like kind of give you a warning.
Yeah.
So they put that in there. It's a little scary. Go really
Yeah.
fast on that hill.
Is this near Millage or?
Baxter from like Millage downhill towards where Baxter ends at Lumpkin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my little person. Why won't it let me drop a person? Where? Come on, Google Maps. Why'd you
Bottom
change it?
right. It's in the bottom right.
Oh, I can't see it because I think. Oh, no wonder my
Yeah, that happens
Bex
to
is
me.
covering. I'm like, where is it?
There's like little map there shown.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I see one.
Looking at you, kid. And there's that striping. Yeah, it looks really scary, especially when you're flying down this hill on your bike.
There's a really good example at 510 Baxter. It's basically the intersection of Church Street.
Going up or down?
Go closer in, yeah, past that to Church Street. That's where the UGA sign is, kind of right on that
That's
corner.
Village.
Papa John's.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm like, where's Church Street on this side?
I was gonna say if you click on the map at the bottom, you can. All right, so just to the left, near Wingster, yeah, and turn around and look down. Right, you missed it.
It was in the shade of that tree.
Yeah, go back.
I thought I saw it, but I wasn't sure if that was the one you were talking about. This one?
Mm-hmm.
So
Here's looking at you, kid.
That's
zoom
bad.
in on that.
Yeah. Gosh. And then the thing is, unfortunately, like drivers, or when we're driving, I should say, like we don't understand like what a cyclist would need to maneuver to the main lane for. We don't really expect to see them doing that, or it's like a driver doesn't expect that I am trying to avoid this thing here that's in the shade.
Mhm.
That's a good point in question, Aaron. Okay. So what do we have here? Okay, so notes. What about level of grade rating? Choose of the.
I'm not sure if this has to do with policy so much as design standards. Like, I'm assuming our current existing design standards do not support this kind of thing, but that being said, we did just do some repaving and it's still the pavement drops off like within the bike lane.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so we'll just check with TPW staff on that to see which one would be better.
All right. We have 10 more minutes of this meeting. Must ride near right-hand curb while riding on the roadway. We are going to nix this
Is
side.
that a local or state?
Oh, so there's a state law. Hold on, let me move myself. Okay. What does it say? What do you say, Georgia?
You have to ride as far to the right as practicable.
That's what I thought it said. Yeah.
So I guess the question here is like, what type of ordinance could we do from a local standpoint that would not conflict? And I don't know what the rules are there, but
Yeah, so I mean, bicyclists may use full lane. Is that just something that is applied sporadically, or I thought that was the code? What do we know?
So they give you a lot of exceptions here in the ordinance for when you are allowed to not be all the way over to the right, and it's all safety related. But when there is room for you to be over to the right and for cars to safely pass you, that's where they want you to be. I don't know how to improve this.
There seemed to be consensus on everybody rated it as 1.
so
Yeah,
does that mean that we try to get rid of it, or does that mean we just don't need to worry about it?
I think.
Seems like it's already addressed.
I mean, I just assume that it's a state law and it applies to us no matter what here. This is exactly what we teach people in our safe cycling classes, is to be aware of this, and that riding basically the gist is the law doesn't tell you that you have to ride all the way to the right. There's all these exceptions for reasons you wouldn't have to, that makes sense and it's for safety.
Yeah, maybe the one thing that I feel like isn't covered here is thinking about what happens next. Like on Baxter, you come up the hill towards Millage, and after Millage, there is no bike lane. And if you were to ride to the end of the lane, then you're kind of forced to merge in the middle of an intersection. So sometimes if there's traffic backed up, I go ahead and merge before a lane ends. And then I get yelled at for not using the bike lane.
You're never required to use the bike lane.
Validated. That's what I thought. So maybe that's the only thing I could think of that's not really covered, but we're not required to use the bike lane, so maybe that's sufficient.
I think more people than us need to be aware of that. Like the people that the police officer who's yelling at us or the motorists who are yelling at us to drive on the sidewalk
Oh yeah, right.
should be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there should be like a commission designed to educate the public on this stuff. Oh,
What would
wait.
you call it though?
I would call it something like about keeping things going, like movement or motion. So that way it applies to all methods of
Happens
transportation.
in motion.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a great name.
Yeah, no, we're going to work on that. We're going to have things like that. That's our education and communications committee. We're making some movement there. Very excited.
Let's aim for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
No pun intended.
Nix it.
All right.
But we need to educate people on riders' rights. All right. must wear a helmet until of age. Some kind of mixed reviews on this. Daniel, you said high priority.
I'll default to what you guys think. I'm just, you know, I think safety. I mean, obviously, we don't want to exclude people by if they can't get a helmet or can't afford a helmet, then they're now being penalized. But so maybe it gets paired um, with a, you know, helmet distribution or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like the only place in America that I know of that has a helmet mandate is King County, Washington, Seattle area. And anyway, I've seen data from New Zealand and Australia, and we're talking about adults here, right? We're not talking about just
Yeah.
yeah. So places that years ago mandated helmets for cyclists, ridership dropped, and you know, it's just another barrier to cycling when you have to have a helmet. And the same thing when they've shown with bike shares, where I think in King County it hasn't worked. I've heard there with bike share because you have to have a helmet, and that's a problem, and especially for visitors and everything else. So I just I'm against it.
I don't think it's a thing we need to wade into. I mean, you have issues with parents and children. What if a parent is accused of child endangerment if their 12-year-old goes out without a helmet and gets hurt?
Well,
So we don't want to mandate them for kids and.
no, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about adults
You're
here. We
saying
do.
for
They are.
because
They are
I feel
mandatory for
strongly we
kids.
should. I don't,
They are
adults,
mandatory
we
for
would never
kids,
win
though, in
that
the state
battle in the
law.
state of Georgia. Huh? Say that again, I'm sorry.
I was saying it is mandatory for state law. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about adult helmet law.
That's what I'm talking about. And I think I could be happy with that, but I understand the arguments against it that you're making, Aaron, and I'm fine with it because we would never win that argument in Georgia. You know, it's too strong a libertarian state to
I
see
couldn't
that
support
happen.
it because there have been many times in my adult life when I've had the opportunity to ride a bike share in a big city and I don't have a helmet. And the lack of a helmet,
Well, that's fine.
I would
I
not
think
want
we're
that to
all,
be a
I think
disincentive.
we're,
I wanted to ride that bike and dang
yeah.
it, I rode the bike and I had a great time and I didn't die.
Well, that time. I'm glad, but I'm also think that for kids, it is important that we mandate it. It is already mandated. I don't even think it's a discussion really.
No,
I think people are generally in agreement, not for adults and yes for kids.
right. Me too.
All right, we got a few more minutes. Let's see how many we can get through.
Yes. Thank y'all. Come back. Must yield sidewalk to pedestrians. Oh, we don't have laws about this? Interesting.
I think it's just that we are not allowed to ride bicycles on the sidewalk.
Right.
Right. So this one, I thought that was interesting because this would essentially kind of be the opposite of that in that it allows bicycles on the sidewalk, but would require a bicycle to yield to pedestrians. I think there are safety concerns though, especially on sidewalks that are anywhere from 4 to 6 feet wide. I wonder if we could have so one of the things that I want to ask tool design group of, some standards that are going on right now. Multi-use path minimum is usually 10 feet. I don't want to call anything less than that a multi-use path, but there has been discussion about, well, what about an 8-foot sidewalk where you can pretty comfortably ride a bike? Or, a really good example is along East Campus Road, there's an asphalt pathway that is basically a bike path, but there's also no sidewalk there, so people use it too. And so is this like basically creating a new like enhanced sidewalk and then that allows for shared bike and pedestrian with bikes yielding to pedestrians. But I'd leave that up for discussion if y'all have opinions on it.
I mean,
think
none
that
of
would
us
be-
carry tape measures, so I just think, you know, multi-use path, yes. Anything less than that, 10 feet, I just don't think it's a great idea.
Kind of muddies the water and makes people think that the bicycles belong on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
and it's just unsafe. I mean, like I drive around like St. Simon, see people riding bikes on the sidewalk all the time. And it's like it's just it's terrifying. I feel like I see people almost get hit constantly
Yeah.
because you're not looking for somebody coming from that direction that fast.
So the language I have says no person over the age of 12 shall drive any vehicle upon a sidewalk or sidewalk area except upon a permanent or duly authorized driveway. And I'm guessing that's going to be your multi-use path.
Yeah, there's so much wrapped up in this. I mean, frequently we have the issue of roads and bikeways being blocked off and them not providing a detour for bikes. And then people don't know the difference between a sidewalk and multi-use path. And I think in a lot of places it's not clear, like on campus. You know, what is a sidewalk and what is a multi-use path? And I couldn't tell you the difference. Like, I think that this is a multi-use path. I think that I can be on here.
There should be some
So
visible cue.
yeah. And yeah, and I remember, I think I mentioned this to y'all. I was in San Francisco and it took forever to find the bikeway in the Golden Gate Park. And then like I got yelled at by this guy who said I was on the sidewalk. I'm like, dude, no, it took us 30 minutes to find the bikeway. And I know that there's a little medallion that says we're supposed to be on here, but to him, we're cyclists gonna run him over. I'm like, dude. All right, so it's 5:46. Maybe we want to come back to this one for further discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm typing.
How many more do we have?
And we still have we kind of slowed down, but this is good stuff. Oh, I think we still have at least 10 more to go.
Number 44 is the last one.
15. But it's good because remember, these are things we have to work with. We're not having to come up with stuff on our own. So we'll pick back up with this next time, and we'll be looking at the Complete Streets presentation again. Sound right? If everyone has another minute or two, I'll go ahead and look on the calendar for our next meeting, if that's okay. Okay. So we usually meet 1 or 2 weeks before the big Athens in Motion meeting. So we could do either like the 9th of March or the 16th, or actually, Daniel, does this still work for you, or are you not? How are you feeling about the Wednesday thing?
Yeah, it works. You know, it's until bowling season's over. We just have to end it around now instead of 6. But I'm pretty wide open on the 9th. And if y'all want to keep it on a Wednesday, that's fine. Is there a day that works better for anyone else?
9th works great for me.
So, and I'm not sure our Prince Avenue user group meeting might still be ending at 4:30, or we might be changing the time slot for that. So for now, let's just do the same time.
Are we on for the 9th?
Yes. From 4:30 to 5:45. I'm sorry, I'll work on ending the meetings on time, y'all. I'll try and keep us in line.
No more.
Great, thank you.
All right. Daniel, you need anything else from me?
Nope. I think that's it.
Right. Thank you, everyone. And again, Cole, thanks for coming up with this list and thanks for joining us. Y'all have a good night. Ride safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.